Yay. But at least something's alive.
Oh,
Unlike the UK at the moment. Hello and welcome to the Technically Wrong Podcast, episode 8. We are currently
Welcome
living...
to a broken United Kingdom.
Yeah, we're currently living in a country that's on fire. So that's fun. I mean, at least my area of the UK is less retarded than yours.
No, it's
But-
just flooded.
Yeah. You know, in the London area, we wanted to stay. In their area, they wanted to leave, so they won out. The old people, yeah. Not a great day. Not a great day. For anything. There's been no tech news. Not much tech. It's mostly just I haven't been bothering because you know.
The world was broken. It's over.
Yeah.
Move to another planet. That's the way to solve this.
So it'll be interesting to see independent Scotland, Ireland, and then probably England and Wales, because Wales isn't going
over.
anywhere.
So,
also,
is there any tech news? Anything? Just
well, the main thing is now that our economy is in shambles and we don't have EU trade routes, you may be right on your prices for the 480.
Oh yeah, bitches! I knew I was gonna be right.
I was gonna, before all this happened, I was saying maybe 170, 170-ish. Nah, yeah, it's probably like 200. It's probably just convert the dollars directly into pounds, number for number.
yeah.
That's all we've got to do now. Just there's no point even thinking, oh, we'll pay slightly less than American. No, we're paying more than they do now.
In other news, I used the Steam controller for the first time, and I got to use an Oculus Rift Dev Kit 2, and unfortunately, because Oculus are assholes, they have completely, there's no support for it. That sucks, but, oh well. I mean, it's a bit shit anyway. It was just basically pixels, but still, I mean, come on, guys. But yes, so everything's broken.
So yeah, good day going on. I mean, okay.
That's the end of the podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. We're gonna go and drink our sorrows away, with solely fucking UK alcohol, because otherwise it's gonna be pretty fucking expensive.
Hey, gotta be careful. Soon Scotch is gonna be pretty expensive as well.
Drink now while supplies last.
Oh fuck my iron brew! Christ! Scotland votes for independence. My iron brew's gonna end up getting taxed for import. Christ!
Oh no, you won't be able to get your illegal in the rest of the world orange food coloring.
Yep.
Into your system.
No.
Oh my.
I'll just have to stick to
Oh, what happened? Like, I don't. I guess I'll talk more about the Steam controller for now.
Yeah, let's bring this on to some tech. We'll talk tech for a while, and then maybe we'll come back and talk to you later.
So my friend ordered.
you, we mean bitch.
My friend ordered Civ 6 and got a Steam controller for like half price. He bet he's glad he didn't do that today, because it'd probably be more expensive anyway. I don't know what have we seen any Steam prices or anything? Like, is anything screwed up, or is it all just still relatively the same for now?
I think it's.
Nothing should change until we actually leave the EU. So.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, Steam sells on right now, so it's pretty status quo. But...
Yeah. But yeah, he bought Civ 6, got a Steam controller. He hates the thing, and I understand why. But I thought it was pretty cool. I love the feedback on the actual touchpads. Like, that is a really cool feeling. You know where you are on the touchpad. It's really cool. Also, the back buttons are very nice to have, like just the extra buttons. And the bumper buttons are the best bumper buttons I've ever had on a controller. However, the trigger buttons are the worst trigger buttons I had or felt on a controller. absolutely horrendous. Like, you thought the PS3 trigger buttons were squishy, these are disgustingly squishy. Like, it's like having it like a half melted marshmallow in between the trigger and the button inside. It's ridiculous. Also, the touchpads are a little too big, but they're not that responsive. You can tweak it, obviously, but the tracking isn't flawless. It's a bit odd. It's like having a kind of it's like having a bad trackpad on your laptop, but then also having feedback on it, so it's not too bad. Like, you know where you are. But I was playing Civilization 5, and you have to like thumb movement over the thing, like each screen. It's obviously not developed for the controller, but it's a bit of a nightmare. Also, the trackpads are a bit too big because the button placement, because your hands are like elevated, so it's mainly you use the trackpad. But with a lot of games, you get A, B, X, and Y buttons and stuff. So getting to those, I found myself hitting the edge of the trackpad half the time. Like, it's just, yeah, your thumb. I don't know. I mean, I just have small hands, I suppose, but it's a bit awkward hitting those buttons. The analog stick is nicely placed because it's elevated, obviously, so that's fine to use. But the buttons are in an awkward position. The back buttons are really nice, and it did feel intuitive to use. Obviously, I've used controllers in the past, but and you get used to it after a while. But not great. I wanted to use the Steam controller and the dev kit too. However, we could only get the Steam controller to properly work with Civ 5, but Civ 5 wouldn't properly work with the dev kit 2. I ended up playing Civilization Beyond Earth with the dev kit 2, and I was basically just watching like a virtual screen of me doing it with my head moving around, which was interesting. Like, I could look at specific things, but mostly just the mouse and keyboard and stuff, so not the best thing in the world. Plus, the menus were kind of hard to read in a way. It was kind of pixely, wasn't great.
What I don't get is, why are we using a VR headset to play a strategy game?
Yeah.
That's like your biggest mistake. Try using it for a strategy game.
Well, do you know why? Because we couldn't get to work with anything else. We had to download.
Dev kit 2 is not supposed to.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I worked with everything else before.
Yeah, when the new Oculus Rift didn't exist.
But we had to download an older version of the software that was kind of cracked in a way that would make it work. So that was interesting. It was a nightmare to set up. We spent like 3 hours. I got to watch the first 20 minutes of 2001: A Space Odyssey in all its pixelated glory in a virtual cinema. That was terrible. Yeah. Just saying, like, yeah, obviously the new. I've not actually tried the new Oculus or the Vive or anything, so it's probably a lot better. But oh well. I'm gonna buy the thing for £100 because, like, to be honest, I could probably sell it for like 150. But my friend just wants to get rid of it at this point.
Lo and behold, you both wasted money.
Yeah, I definitely wasted the bus fare to get there and use the disappointment machine.
Yep. I just think you technically need all the money you can get now in this UK, not in the EU situation.
We're going to keep going back to that, aren't we?
Wouldn't a post UK not being in the EU be a UK in the EU?
Just
do what?
Shh. Quiet about grammar mistakes.
Anyway, so basically what's happened is the only real tech-related news that we've thought about this week is, oh no, everything's going to be even more expensive now. That's about it, really.
There was some gaming news, but most of it was apparently the Sky Broadcasting Network was suing the developers of No Man's Sky over the name of them using Sky, and they've settled. Twitch is suing a bunch of viewer bots makers because it's technically
and people that use them
cheating their system for ad revenue and things. What was the other one? The creators of Paragon sued some person that was which was selling hacks for the game. So, a lot of people suing each other is basically what happened this week.
And you know how I always used to say, I'm gonna do one episode of the podcast where I'm not tired or sick, right?
That
Well,
ain't
I'm not
happening.
tired or sick. I'm just hungover because we left the EU. God damn it.
It's the post-breakup hangover.
Yeah. No, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
You know, technically isn't yours a pre-breakup hangover because you were drunk before we even left the EU?
Getting ready
The
for it.
votes had started coming in, and like it didn't look good, and then it looked very good, and then it looked absolutely abysmal.
No, it looked good in the first hour of them collecting results. It was all downhill from there.
Yeah. Pretty much. But I mean, I had a fun day until that started, and then I was on the bus and I met a friend of mine, and that has no relevance to this at all. Anyway, just
There's a Steam sale. We can talk about that. The Steam sale.
let me have a look at the Steam sale. I'm not gonna buy anything because, well,
Lucas,
I
buy
don't.
GTA 5.
Huh?
Do I have the money to buy games? No, I don't.
I mean, I already have GTA 5.
You should look at my bank account and go, how is that possible?
At least you're not as bad as my friend who extended his overdraft to buy food. And now he's
No, no. You should look at my overdraft of what my
voted to
being at
leave.
university did.
And then extended his overdraft. I think that was foreshadowing.
Oh Christ! I hope my bank interest doesn't go up. My bank's already screwing me on interest on my overdraft.
Yeah, your bank's so far in the minus, it just comes up with that little cry face when you.
You might as well at this point.
when
NatWest
you look at your card.
already had to issue statements of we're no longer giving people currency exchanges to euros. The
Wow.
reason behind it, because the pound is in the shitter.
I wouldn't mind buying Doom. That's pretty cheap, considering. Like 40% off. It's pretty much brand new. That's nice. I mean, if I could afford it, obviously.
Jamie, buy me Grand Theft Auto.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. I'm not even bothered. It's only Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, but you can come join our crew.
Even more reason not to.
I don't know if I should say the name or not, because then they know where we live.
Yeah, don't, because it's also the most chavvy thing you could have called it.
Oh no.
It's an Ali G reference. The whole thing is an Ali G reference.
Well, that's not too bad.
It's called the.
And for the uninformed,
It's called
it
the
must seem
something
terrible.
massive. Let's just go with that. I was gonna say at this point, we might as well have Ali G as our Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Still be better than Boris Johnson.
Oh, seriously? That's
Yeah.
terrible.
And our cars are all yellow.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, games are on sale. Just all the games on Steam, they're on sale. They're robbing people's pockets.
That's how Steam works though. It's just like, we're going to have sale. Everything is on sale.
I like how it started, a day before the UK dropped its trousers for its economy and just went, take it all.
Yeah,
It's like Valve knew that this was the right time to rape gamers just rape their wallets. It's like, oh, you have a wallet with money, we'll take that. Here, have some games.
every single game on my Steam wishlist, except for Factorio, is on offer.
You know what's funny? The EU referendum was on the same day as the Sonic anniversary.
Yep.
Gotta go fast and exchange your currency for, one that's
Gotta
not
be
gonna
fast.
crash.
Gotta put your bets down to see what we do. As so many people did. So many people vote that had voted Remain were like, I'm betting that this is going to be a Leave result.
Simply for the odds, because everybody was
Yeah.
saying we're going to stay, and I think that was the main problem. Was we were so confident that we were going to stay that nobody bothered to vote.
Yeah, the 13 million people that decided, I can't be bothered.
I mean, that's not completely the issue, though, because I mean, it is perfectly acceptable for somebody just not to want to vote. I mean, you know, at least my stance on that is, you know, if someone genuinely doesn't care about politics, that's fine, and that's their opinion. They're allowed not to care and not to vote, but at the same time, they have to then not care about any changes that come after that because of that.
No.
You know, if they don't care about the
you
whole
can't
system,
then complain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But I know people who genuinely don't care about what happens or anything. Like they're just not interested, and so that's fine.
But I think that's why a lot of people are worried that not only did this vote win by a very small majority, it's the fact that a third of our voting population decided that it wasn't worth voting on. For us to have that majority, it's like, in a sense, this is something people should care about more, especially as we were looking at before. Google has had spikes in searches ranging from what is Brexit? Why are we leaving the EU? What will happen if we leave the EU? And this was after the polls finished for taking votes. Like,
it's just a spread of misinformation. It's like a Nvidia press conference.
Yeah, but this was far worse because it's like, oh, we're going to have all this extra money. No, we're not. And then our economy lost more money than we've ever paid into the EU in 40 years.
Is the EU going to send us some really, like, cherry-picked graphics cards to test?
Yeah.
And then just sell the really shit ones.
That'd be the only benefit we might get.
In 10 years' time, when we crawl back, 5 years of everything's on fire, 5 years of everything's still on fire, but now it's full of lava, and then just crawling back and sucking the EU's dick for like 5 more years before we get a really shit deal.
Yeah, this thing, in that time, is the EU still going to be around though? Because at the rate it's going, there are more countries thinking, we could leave.
Well, if we are on fire in 5 years, we will have been the beta test for leaving the EU, and therefore probably it's still going to be around. Because if we can pull through, and if we can actually pull this off, which I doubt, then more people will leave. But if we're on fire for the entire time,
technically, we shouldn't have even decided that we we can do this, we can survive on our own. No, we can't. Yeah, we have a pretty strong economy, but it's a stupid idea to think we're better on ourselves by ourselves.
0.3% of our revenue or of our money or whatever went into the EU.
3%.
Huh?
3% of our GDP is made up by our exports to the EU.
No. I mean our actual budget. Like, was it 350 million?
Oh, that's a very small percentage.
That goes in.
Our actual economy that goes into Europe makes up 3% of what we make.
It's like 13 to 14% that we get back.
Yep.
So how does that make any logical sense? Also, a hospital. Thanks, guys. And that's not.
But it's not even that, because the money's not even going to end up in the NHS by the end of it. So, like, that giant bus which you had the words written, "This money's going to the NHS." Yeah, that was a giant fat lie.
Yeah. Also, I mean, you think about it, and the way you divide it, it may be a hospital in 10 years.
Yeah, if we're lucky, because we've got to wait 2.5 years before we even stop paying the EU the money. So by that time, we've already paid
amount of money that we've lost.
4 billion, roughly.
The amount of money that we've lost in the last 24 hours is greater than the amount that we've put in the last, 10, 15 years to the EU.
No. All 40 years we've been part of the single trade market.
Holy shit.
That was the estimate someone put out, was we lost more money today than we've ever put into the single market since we joined it in 72, 75?
It was 73, and then 75 was something.
Well, the European Union as we know it didn't start until 93, apparently.
Right.
But
is that with all members, or?
Yeah, but the single trade market started in 72. So
So yeah, a lot of tech news.
Yep.
I had the there's 3 things on the Google document.
Google document. Oh yeah, we had one of those this week, didn't we?
Okay, so the Xbox Scorpio is like got 6 teraflops or whatever, which I find hilarious because we're getting like a 250-pound graphics card if shit goes awry in the next week. But it's like
a 6 teraflop graphics card puts it in the 1080 range. So talking really, your console is gonna have a $600 graphics card in it. Yeah, okay, that's gonna be a cheap console.
yeah, and no, the 1080 is something like 8 teraflops.
Well, the initial rumors for the Xbox Scorpio was 10 teraflops of graphics processing power.
No, it's now 6 teraflops, and it went from 10 to 5 to 6.
So they can't make up their mind.
Yeah, but anyway, a 6 teraflop graphics card, the 480 is pumping out like 5.2, I believe, and that's a $200. Let's stick with dollar for everything because the pound is just yeah. But a $200 graphics card can kind of match that. So you could build a console price. I mean, think about it. Okay, the Xbox One came out at like £1 million or dollars or whatever. So this one is gonna come out at $1 billion. So I mean, you're looking at like a $600-700 console, and you could build a PC with like the same specifications and have a computer. Plus, all of the exclusives for the Xbox Scorpio and One are now PC titles on Steam. So, what is the point? They're saying Oculus and Vive. Well, there's rumors going around because Microsoft came out and said that it will have. Well, it's getting ready for VR support, but so far we haven't seen any in-house VR stuff. So we're wondering whether that will have actual Oculus or Vive support built in because HDMI is out and stuff like that. So, yeah, that might be interesting. My personal thing is if you really want to make a console that's like that, don't make every game in 4K because that's just dumb. You're gonna end up with the whole 30 FPS locked, and even in 4K, that's just not like why would you do that? I think like maybe focus on 1080p. Maybe have a display out like a display port or something that can run 120 hertz because that would be pretty cool. I mean, obviously, with the keyboard and mouse support as well for your console, you've basically just got a cheap-ish gaming PC where that runs a little smoother, that's more optimized for video games. And then if you got 120 hertz at 1080p with mouse and keyboard support, then yeah, you basically got a decent piece of hardware. It's not really a console at that point, but it's still kind of a cool thing, I suppose.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's interesting how consoles are becoming more and more like PCs. You mentioned even the support for keyboard and mouse, which is interesting. I mean, potentially we might not even see consoles in the future. I mean, you see Microsoft pushing Windows 10 eventually, maybe.
I think the only console we're likely to see in the future is a
It's
PlayStation
Nintendo.
in some form.
Oh no, not even Nintendo.
Nintendo,
think
depending on what
say-
the NX is going to be, we don't know. Because they seem to be pushing maybe towards more powerful handhelds.
I think Nintendo had it right. I think as far as in consoles in the future, I think that the PlayStation and the Xbox are going to become obsolete and gotten rid of. I think they're going to try and either that or they're going to make sort of very kind of Linux-based PCs, that kind of thing. Like they're going to be PCs essentially, and I think Nintendo had it right because I think like you look at the Wii, like that I think is what consoles are going to become. I think they're going to be that very kind of playful living room thing, very silly kids games. But the sorts of things that adults can also play and have fun with. I think.
Well, that was the thing. The Wii technically won its generation consoles. Not only did it sell more than both the Xbox and the PlayStation put together, but it targeted its audience right. Made it cheap enough that everyone wanted it. It had fun games everyone wanted to play on it, and had a silly gimmick to go with it.
Yeah, but I mean the new Scorpio is a PC. It will run on Windows 10. It's a PC. It is a PC.
The current
Like,
Xbox One runs on Windows 10.
yes, but it's
They
not
all do. It's like
quite
they're
a
all
PC.
PCs now. That's
But
it.
I mean, you even look at like the renders of the Scorpio and the teasers and stuff. You look at that and you think, that's a PC.
Hey, have you seen the new Xbox One S, or as I like to call it, the X-Bones?
Yeah, but
Have you noticed it kind of looks like an old Nintendo Entertainment System?
sort of.
Or better yet, a non-italicized PlayStation 4 with less of a groove going through the middle of it. Because that's kind of what they seem to have done.
But what I was going to talk about with the Scorpio is it's probably running Polaris and it's probably running Zen because that's what the Neo is kind of doing. And they got into the game a little later, so they're probably getting faster hardware. I don't know because it's got an 8-core processor in it, and that just kind of tells me that it's Zen, you know. So I think it's just kind of a we might even well, we probably won't see those kind of APUs come around for a while, but hopefully at some point, because it has one chip, like, well, at least the renders do, and most consoles do. So I wonder if APUs are gonna get 6 teraflops, because I mean, with the kind of heat output of the 480 that we've been getting so far, the kind of performance to watt and everything. I think you could see APUs with kind of 480 spec'd GPUs in them if they get the yields down, if they get the wattage down, maybe slightly lower clocked, maybe non-overclockable versions. So maybe run it at 1,000 megahertz just straight, or even that be the boost clock or something. Stick that on a chip with a Zen CPU, maybe like a 4 to 6 core, something like that, and then you've got an APU. But then again, why would they do that? Because that would just make consoles gone forever.
Well, the main problem is they're going to start facing is they'll be putting so much in a console to make it powerful enough. You might as well buy a PC for the price, because they will have to hike the price up to keep up.
Yeah, and at this point, even the support, like all the consoles, like the exclusives and the cinema experience at home, like, well, it's got PC and mouse support now because obviously, I mean, yeah, and you can just plug a fucking controller in. I mean, seriously, come on, and like it's always been about the exclusives and the development, and I think the Xbox is dead because PS4 actually has exclusives that I kind of want.
This is the
Like The Last
exclusives
Guardian,
on PlayStation make sense because they don't end up on any other platform for a very long time if they do end up going over. Where they keep going, oh, this is an Xbox One exclusive, and quietly in the corner said, oh, it's also on PC. So yeah, the Xbox has died the moment it has had to rush out 2 new consoles in the space of a year.
We live in interesting times.
No. And I don't get how somehow Microsoft has not been able to make a small console until now. Let alone make a console which they can put everything in it. Mainly, I don't know, the power transformer brick that they always have had with a console, but no longer have it with the Xbox One S.
It's not even that small.
It's compared to the original Xbox One, the S seems
Compare
to
it
be
to the
roughly
PS4 though.
a third to 2/3 of the size.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, it took them how many years?
15, maybe.
Well, to
13.
get the power brick and everything, yeah.
Yeah, to actually put a power brick inside the console, of which the PlayStation's always had it in the console. So this is what confuses me.
I believe the PS2 Slim had an external. Yeah, it did. It had an external power brick.
Yeah,
but
that's
that's understandable
they removed
because
an
it
awful
was
lot out of the inside of it.
because it was pretty much as slim as the drive itself.
Yeah. Well, the drive was a flip top open one like the original PlayStation. That's how they saved some more space. was not having this slide out tray.
Yeah.
But it's like, seriously, how could they not even fit the transformer brick in the Xbox One with how big it was? So their design team seems to be silly. Well, that and Microsoft did the whole backtracking of, oh yes, all these games are Windows 10 store exclusives. Within a week they go, oh yeah, all these games will be available on Steam when they come out. So, hey, we get a look at all these games which were supposed to just be on Xbox, technically.
Oh yeah, on the subject of lawsuits, which we were on previously, but I'll backtrack
Yeah, I
to
just
that
had a
for a
quick
bit.
look at that Valve one, and it's stupid.
A little bit, yeah, but I do agree with it in a way, but I don't think the Valve should be liable, really.
They're technically not. It's like
Yeah,
they have a system to trade skins, and someone's calling it profit, like that. Yeah, Valve makes money off the Steam sales, but it's technically not gambling, unless you're stupid.
yeah. Well, what it is there's a class action lawsuit heading Valve's way about the gambling website. So you can unbox a skin or buy a skin off the Steam market. Then you can go to one of these sites, link your Steam account, trade it into your inventory in this site. So you kind of get rid of it in a way. And then you can gamble it, like actually getting rid of it. And you may lose that skin. And then you lose money because you bought it through Steam, you bought it for how much or whatever, or you bought it off one of these sites even, and then you can gamble it away. But the problem that people, well, the guy says specifically is that Steam is allowing you to link your account, which is complete bullshit because I can link it to my Twitter profile and trade
Well,
somebody
thing, yeah.
through Twitter.
A lot of it is because Steam's profile API isn't open API. So it's like Valve gives access to many websites to be able to link the API of your profile. Just because you can do that doesn't mean it's Valve's fault that you're gambling.
Yeah, I mean it kind of.
It's illegal gambling on esports in the first place. So
Yeah.
like they complain like, oh, I'm losing money gambling and it's Valve's fault. It's like, yeah, but you're illegally gambling on esports.
Yeah, and I mean I don't like the kind of loot box and case way of doing things in the first place because that
Coming from the one that plays Overwatch excessively.
that is kind. No, I don't. I've mentioned that I don't like that
no,
system.
I'm joking. Calm down.
But it is kind of like a gateway because you buy a fuck ton of cases and you can get absolutely nothing and you lose a ton of money. But
you get given tons of cases. The thing you're buying is the keys to open them.
Yeah, which is another thing. And that's why I think Overwatch is less egregious. I mean, it's unfortunate that you can buy them and you can just, go through that. But at least they do just give them to you and you can open them. But still, you can buy them, and that kind of defeats the purpose, and it's kind of annoying, especially when you get. I had a friend who I was watching unbox cases, loot boxes, and he got 3 doubles, so 3 of stuff that he already had, and then he got a spray, and the spray was salt. Like, the spray was a salt shaker. So he got
Sick
nothing.
burn.
That was like the game saying, "Ha, fuck you," basically. Because he bought 50 fucking boxes. What a moron. Like, why? I bought 4 when the game first came out because I had like 4 quid or like 3 quid. Yeah, it was about £3 in my just my account, just hanging about. I can't withdraw that. There wasn't a Steam sale. I thought, screw it. I begin the game. I can get a few extra skins. That is the only purchase I have made in that game. Other than that, I have gotten my cases, boxes through leveling up. He bought 50 of them, and he got nothing.
Lol. Just lol. See, it just proves just because you can spend the money doesn't mean you probably should, because you're just gonna get screwed.
Yeah, but I mean, I like with Hearthstone. That's kind of the anticipation, and I liked Hearthstones. Like I did honestly buy a little too many card packs, especially since I'm not playing anymore. But I've never opened CS:GO cases because you have to, you have to you get the cases and then you have to buy the keys, and you don't get anything, so you buy more cases. It's just a long spiral of despair, and then you get something good and you do it all over again. And you basically never make a profit unless you're anomaly. But mostly I have like an inventory full of skins. They're all named. They're all relatively cheap skins. I put about £120 into that, and that's quite a lot of money to a lot of people. But I did that over the course of a year, so it's not that bad. As well as then I have an inventory, and I haven't bought a skin in like 3 months because I have an inventory with every skin that I kind of want. They're not exactly dream skins, but they're still there, and I enjoy using them. And I've gotten compliments on my shit knife a million times, which I never understood. But like, that's a thing. Like, I just buy them outright. I wouldn't then go. I wouldn't buy these low tier skins, relatively low tier skins, anyway, and then go and gamble them for higher tier skins. No, I've got these skins. I'm gonna name them, especially because I find if you name something, you don't necessarily want to, gamble it, I suppose. But yeah, no, I just know why you. The main reason that people wanted Valve to change it and wanted Valve to ban this whole thing is because of the underage gambling. And I've had a lot of CS:GO friends who are like, 16, 17, some as young as 15, who have just gone through and they've gambled all their skins away. But I just call them idiots and tell them to stop doing it, and they don't. But still, I mean, they are idiots at the end of the day. It's not Valve's fault that a website, that their API is allowed on so many websites like that. That's kind of removing something that should be there. Like, you should be able to link your Steam account to whatever because you might want to show it off. I mean, going through, because there's new gambling sites every day. So that would take just so many resources to go through and kind of blacklist these sites that it's kind of pointless. And I mean, there will be a workaround. It will still be able to do this stuff. You'll probably just end up having to like put your Steam link through and then get a bot to specifically go through Steam itself, rather than just doing it on the site and having it automatic. Because you will be able to do it in the end anyway. It's not going to stop.
Yep.
Where
World
there is
we live
money,
in.
there is gambling.
Yep.
Life lesson.
Like how people gambled with this country's future. Woo!
Oh, back to the EU talk.
Segway.
Every topic segueing back into the EU.
Technically, we could do at this point. It's like we could attach it to some facet, like I don't know how basically every major political party in our country is looking at a leadership change.
Well, in the last year and a little bit, we've had half of the country wanting to leave. Then we've had the worst election in UK history, and then we've had probably the worst referendum in the world's history of people have no idea what they're doing and the consequences of that.
Yep. Yeah, but we've still got the worst to come. Come October, Boris Johnson could be our Prime Minister. That's probably the most interesting facet of all.
That is electing Trump. That's what that is.
You're not wrong.
He is the UK
on
Trump.
Trump news, Trump was in the UK this morning, and the BBC News asked him for comment, and I wish they hadn't.
I saw a tweet from him. He said, you know, oh, Hillary backed Obama on the UK staying, and now she wants to be taken seriously in the elections. It's like, well, good. I would vote for her.
But the thing, I was talking to Dad before. He basically put out the fact that a lot of people are probably gonna spite vote for Hillary Clinton just to prevent Trump from getting into office, which at this point is what we need, because if Trump becomes president, the world's gonna go down in a great ball of fire.
I mean, Hillary wouldn't. I would have gone for Bernie if I was in America, frankly.
Just anyone but Trump at this point. Just
But
anybody but him.
Just if your options are Trump
And
or
everybody else.
anyone else in the world, even Vladimir Putin, you put them in charge. Like,
you put
just
them
not
in the
Trump.
same room as each other, and they'll start nuking one another. Can I go back to sleep and wake up and it not be today? Or yesterday, technically.
Well, your wish has already been granted.
Can I wake up and, like, the EU referendum never existed?
So, which country are we moving to?
I got family in Germany.
Oh,
I'm
well,
thinking one far enough away, so Japan, because then at least they get all the interesting tech stuff.
Wow.
And giant robots. Don't forget giant robots.
You know the real reason he wants to move to Japan, because he's a filthy weeb.
Technically, better than being a so-called English patriotic nationalist.
I'm with you on that one, to be honest.
I'd rather be a weeaboo than some dumbass British patriot.
Yeah, I mean, at least I do enjoy some anime. I'd probably get along better than here right now.
I know some people know, like, thinking, oh, move to Scotland. That's a good place to live, because at least they'll still be in the EU.
But will they though? Because they were finding it like the whole reason like they ended up staying was because will they be able to join the EU? Like, there's still that question. Like,
well, that was the thing. They stayed part of the UK to ensure they kept their EU membership.
Yeah, and now
but there's no point for it now. They might
as well try. Yeah.
Because the light chance is they will be given EU membership. So.
And I mean, a lot of people, because I live in London, so a lot of people around me are saying, "Oh, an independent London, that's just not going to happen. That's impossible." It's a nice bloody thought, but it's just not going to happen. But London is going to suffer. It's going to be bloody impossible to live here in a bit. I am moving out of London.
I was going to say that your prices on just about everything in London is going to get hiked in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Like housing prices and rent in London are insane compared to everywhere else.
Yeah, but do I
it's
really
going to be worse by next year.
Do I really want to move up to a place where every single place around you guys voted to leave?
They voted to leave because...
Give it 5 years, they'll all be dead.
That's true. You have no idea what the age population here is. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's all old people. Like,
yeah.
But that said, like, this area is it's a very conservative stronghold. It's a very, very right wing. It is what it is. Like, they were always going to vote for leave. There was never any doubt for that in this area.
Well, like for layoff, like I told you before, it's like you look at the age difference. Half of layoff is young
Lucas.
people. The other
wait up. So we didn't reveal
dumbass
the GTA 5 clan
I've told
name.
other people that I live in Laos, and no one can find it on a goddamn map.
So,
we have that advantage.
They not have Google.
They think we live in Ireland.
You type laugh into Google and see if you come up with Ireland first.
Fair enough. Yes, Ireland, and then honestly, like, because of reasons that I'm not gonna go into. I typed in Louth because usually I type in Louth and then something else, obviously. But I typed in Louth and I got a place in London.
Yep.
What?
This thing, I told someone, I live in Louth, and they thought, just wait, is that Atlantis or something? They thought it was some place that didn't exist. Like, you can barely tell someone from, like, Manchester, oh, I live in Lincolnshire, and they go, where? Like, Lincolnshire? One of the, well,
Oh,
I think
come
it's
on,
the largest
Lucas.
county in the country.
Oh, come on.
I'm not even joking, some people are like that. You go Lincolnshire, and even some people are still confused.
Well, Jamie, I guess you're gonna have to move.
Nah.
Jamie's already moved, it's fine.
I think, I honestly think, like, in 20 years' time, this constituency will have had a massive shift and it will be left wing. Like, you find a lot of, like, so many young people here are all, like, all the upcoming, like, new voters, that kind of thing, and, you know, very young voters are all, like, very Labour. They're very, very kind of left wing. You know, that Remain was their vote, but, you know, you find that older generation is, you know, is the largest generation here. And I think as things shift over time, I think we'll start to see this constituency become, you know, a more contested one, but it won't be for quite a few years.
Also, Labour just needs to, I don't know, take their thumb out of their ass and actually do something.
Well, they're trying to get rid
They
of
did barely
Jeremy
anything
Corbyn,
during
and
the EU referendum. Like,
well,
debates
yeah.
and campaigning.
But
They did
they're
nothing.
trying to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn, but that's what people who have been, you know, who have been supporting Labour want. That's who they want.
It's like,
So
Yeah, I like
honestly,
Jeremy Corbyn.
things-
he's very
Labour
radical,
MPs
but we need somebody who wants to change things.
Yeah, I mean,
Like every party needs somebody who wants to change how their party works to a degree. Obviously, we want them to have their base, otherwise it would be pointless. But you need somebody who wants to actually change more than just I mean, you look at the Conservatives and you look at like just the Tory party and everything they've done. They've wanted to privatize the NHS. They've wanted to do this. They wanted to do that. They haven't been able to do anything, mostly because Cameron has kind of lost the House's vote at this point. His backing of everyone, because he's a moron. And I mean, he shit himself. You see interviews, and he's basically just like in his head. He's in a shower, rocking back and forth, like, please don't mention.
Well, this is the thing.
Please
What I
don't
find
mention
strange
anything.
is, during this whole thing, an awful lot of Parliament, like a majority of the MPs, were backing Cameron to stay in, like, to remain as the Prime Minister.
I'd love to see him stay as Prime Minister. Don't get me wrong, this is coming from a Labour voter, and I don't agree with what he stands for politically, or what his party stands for politically, but you can't ignore the fact that his party in the last general election was voted in on a very large majority. He was voted in on a very large majority.
Yeah, which basically means it's a mini dictatorship, and they have like almost all of the control.
That's true, but it means that the British people want him to be in power. They want what his party wants, like as a whole.
Well,
the British people want
this
that.
thing.
We had the worst election in UK history, because MP to actual vote of the Parliament Party was practically reversed. Like, just the amount of MPs that actually got in, the amount of representatives in Parliament and in government in general, is completely skewed to what the votes were. But I do see what you mean, yeah.
But it's like, everyone voted for him because they're like, you need to continue what you're doing, because if you continue what you're going to do, it will fix a lot of the problems we currently have with our economy. Which it was. And now that's all going to drop out at the bottom of the barrel because he wants to leave, because he doesn't think he can lead a country that wants to leave.
But the thing is, you can't just have a guy to come in for 2 years, because he'll change everything but not get what he wanted going. So
it's going to be Gordon Brown all over again.
Yeah. It's basically,
that's what we're going to have.
You come in and you just cancel everything that happened before, but not get anything new started. So nothing happens other than all of the good shit from before being cancelled, and plans for good shit in the future not happening.
The fact is, that's not likely to happen, like the cancelling of everything, because it's still a Prime Minister from the same party. The only issue is having a Prime Minister we didn't vote for, technically. Let alone one we probably won't have confidence in, especially if it is Boris Johnson. No one wants that fool as our Prime Minister.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I do not like. I disagree with Boris Johnson more than I disagree with David Cameron. Because I'll survive with David Cameron. Boris Johnson, fuck me. But oh, I can't swear. Anyway, um,
I've already done that. You're fine.
okay. But he, despite the fact I disagree with everything he stands for politically, he is the sort of guy you go drinking with. Let's be honest. Like, he's just so stupid. It'd be
He's
hysterical.
the
Like,
Nigel
he's
Farage
good.
of the Conservative Party.
He really is. Like, you go drinking with him, and he'll put like a cone on top of like a bus shelter and give it a hat and stuff. Like, he'd be hysterical.
You take a piss in his glass and drink it, I bet.
Yeah, he'd be hysterical.
But that's not a guy you want leading the country.
Not really. No, it's not.
Yeah, that was my nan. Like, I was talking to her about UKIP and how fucking dumb they were, and she said the main reason I won't vote for them is simply because, and yeah, I don't like anything they're doing, but the main reason is just because I don't want a leader that I see in the pub every day. That doesn't inspire much confidence.
Like, oh, they look human. It's like, yeah, but this is the thing. They're supposed to be running our country. They're not supposed to be like everyone else. You need them to actually act like they're running a country. Which is why David Cameron seems to be having this. Oh, he has to make himself look human, and then it's like, yeah, but you really are a posh Oxford University student, which not many people like, and you've had some dodgy stuff come out about you recently. Including his rather intimate pig escapades.
Moving on.
No, we're not talking about his wife here.
No, I'm talking about an actual pig.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Well, I just thought I'd highlight it.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The UK has voted to leave, and so, I mean, there's no point crying about it. We're going to leave. So I think right now, I'd love to see David Cameron stay, because I mean, his party's like broken right now. Like, there's so much infighting.
Well, there is, because none of them expected him to resign. They're like,
well, not even
everyone
that.
wanted
Like,
him to stay.
There was,
so it was like,
because it was like a dual conservative campaign. Like, the conservatives were on both sides. Like, there was so much. His party just was split down the middle, and they need someone to lead now.
Basically,
they need someone to
what has
reunite them.
Is that we've learnt nothing from America. Okay, look, this is parodying like exactly what's happening in America at the moment. Obama is getting a fuck ton of flack for stuff that he honestly doesn't have much control over because he lost the vote of the House, and that's basically what David Cameron is happening now. All right, he's basically lost the confidence of his party, and so he's getting a shit ton of flack. He's having to resign, and we're leaving the next kind of we're leaving it up to a bunch of fucking idiots, be it Trump or, you know, Hillary's had some shit in the past too. And I mean, really, Hillary? It's nice to have a woman president and everything, but, you know, really?
well, I have the two choices. Who would you prefer?
Hillary.
There you go. That's America in a nutshell right now. And that'll be our country when they go, it's Boris Johnson or somebody else. Who do you want to vote for? The other guy.
Yeah.
That will be our choice. Well, it'll be the government's choice when it comes down to it, when Conservatives go, we want one of these two people to be our new Prime Minister. And the likeliness is it's going to be Boris Johnson or somebody else.
How did nobody go, right? And they looked at the people who are backing each side and think, okay, so on one side we have the, let's face it, relatively intelligent villains, and on the other side we have the comic book mentally handicapped villains. Okay?
Well, on one side, like the Remain side, had every sane person in the world going, you should really stay in the EU. On the other side, you had Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump. That's who the Leave voters voted with were for madmen.
Yeah.
So...
It's like voting for Lex Luthor or the Joker.
No, because Joker wouldn't go for either side. He'd just want to see everything burn.
Yeah, but still. Well, no. Think about it. This is watching everything burn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder how many people are currently burning their money because it's worthless at the rate it's going. Or the better one, trying to exchange it for euros or dollars because it's gonna be worth more. Oh damn it! This better not change how I get my anime because I'm not part of the EU. Because the sites will have to change how they do their agreements for licensing. God damn it!
No, most of them are country based anyway.
Yeah.
EU is building a policy so that it'll work in the entire EU, but it's not in place yet. So even like Netflix, all those kind of things are country based, despite
Oh
the
yeah,
fact they're
those
in the
ones
EU.
are. But I know some are
almost all of them
region based.
Also, another thing is we live in the EU, right? But we're probably going to remain as an EU trade partner, which means that we're still going to have to abide by the rules and regulations and the costs that are associated with that. So there is no point.
Yep.
None at all.
Well, one estimate was we'll be paying something in the region of £150 million to access the free trade market that the EU has. So that's a large chunk of the money we're paying the EU already being spent to trade with the EU. Plus, as they pointed out, it's going to be, well, the European Parliament is trying to make us leave as fast as possible rather than waiting for a new Prime Minister to be elected, which is what David Cameron's basic point of place was, that he's not going to enact the Article 50, which begins our exit, where the EU wants us to already do it and get it over and done with.
We should just rename this podcast some left-wing nut jobs, apparently, because we are the minority at this point. Talk about technology occasionally.
We're not the minority. You got to remember, 48% of the people wanted to remain in the EU. That's not a small minority.
Yeah, and it's not a number to be looked down at either. I think that if any negotiations that are made, any agreements that are going to be made in the future, the Remain need to be taken into consideration, because that larger majority, you need to take into account their viewpoints when you're kind of building your leave negotiation, because I think a majority like that can't be ignored.
Well, that's the thing. The Leave Party, they only won by 3.8% by the end of it. That's all the majority they had for the vote. And this is why there are currently petitions to try and get a revote for the EU referendum to get a larger majority.
We have to. We've
I've
already seen ripples. We're in the eye of the storm, and a few houses of just shrapnel's being thrown at us at the moment. All right, but that storm's moving fast.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When I saw the post for it, someone did an article. The government petition site where it's being done, where if a petition gets 100,000 signatures plus, the Parliament has to discuss it. The website was being crashed by the amount of people trying to sign it because they're getting 1,000 signatures a minute on this petition. So it's likely Parliament's going to have to discuss the idea of a second vote to try and get a large majority. So we could be looking at a very interesting year indeed.
No. What we really need is a pop song in the UK that basically tells everybody to go and shout at the government. That's all we need, right?
Everyone already does that. They just can't be bothered to do anything about it. Everyone already shouts at the government. They just do it in their own homes and don't actually do anything.
They shout at their televisions.
Yep. And that's basically the 28% of people that didn't vote in this referendum.
Yes.
Yay, politics. Anything else to bitch and complain about?
Oh yeah, well, another weird UK news. We passed we're trying to pass a law that makes in the future, I suppose, because there isn't any at the moment. I guess your Roomba might be classed as a robotic human or something, and like people who own uh, kind of machines to do housework and clean and stuff like that would be you'd have to pay what is it called? Let me look it up because that makes more sense.
Well, while you're looking for that, we'll talk about the fact that, by the looks of it, before the UK leaves the EU, Scotland will have a second independence vote to decide whether or not they'll stay in the UK. Have we already talked about that? I can't remember.
No. But they were always going to have another one. Like, it was talked
Yeah.
about directly after the last referendum vote for Scotland. Like, they were always going to go and look again.
Yeah, but I don't
And
think
so
they were
it's not a
planning on doing
surprise.
it this soon. But
I don't think it will be soon. I think they'll wait a little while. It won't be immediate, I don't think.
not immediate, but the First Minister of Scotland's Parliament body that they have to rule Scotland basically pointed out the fact that depending on what happens, they're almost guaranteed to have a second independence referendum before the UK leaves the EU. So in the next 2.5 years, roughly. But and then on BBC, there are also apparently rumours that Republic of Ireland is looking to begin talks with Northern Ireland about unifying the country.
Not surprising.
Yeah, and that's all because with us leaving the EU, Northern Ireland will have to put up a border between them and Republic of Ireland, which is an EU member. So, but
Yeah,
which could be interesting. We could see a united Ireland for the first time in 50 years?
That would be. I like that idea. Just because maps. I hate maps. give Alaska to Canada, please, and give Ireland back.
So, and then we've got Gibraltar, which that's gonna have to decide what it's gonna do.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If we leave the EU, I would like to see Gibraltar be allowed to vote to become a part of Spain. Maybe it's not the best country,
Spain,
but
just an independent state.
They're too small to be independent.
I mean,
state.
they had like what is it, 96% vote. So I think they maybe either
it was
just
96.
completely
96% in favour. So.
And so I think either just that's like stay in the EU and be their own thing.
The problem is they're so small. They're not big enough to hold their own economy or anything like that. But I think them being part of Spain, because they're right off Spain. Like
but this
might as well
Spain's
be an
economy is tanking hard right now.
That's true. That's true, and maybe they pick a different country, but ultimately I think they need to become part of a different country.
Yeah,
they're too far away to be supported. They're just not going to be able to live.
With this happening, because there have been rumours recently that regions of Spain are looking to gain their own independence, like the Catalan regions. So, Europe in the next 5 to 10 years could look very different on a map.
I mean, technically, Europe will never change, but the European Union will look different. Because you can't exactly leave a continent.
Well, no, but you're going to see different borders on a map. There will be borders where there didn't used to be borders. But I see you link the petition, and it has 485,000 signatures.
Well, it has 484 and 606, but make that 607.
Oh, is it just going up now?
Oh, that's going up ridiculously fast.
No. Refresh the page.
486,000.
Oh,
well, it did say before that it's getting roughly 1,000 signatures a minute, so...
Well, I'll be another one of those in a bit.
Well, put it this way. If it keeps going at this rate, by tomorrow, the same population of Birmingham would have signed his signature to redo the referendum. So
I think if it gets to like 1 million, they should just do it anyway.
well, if it gets that kind of high, there's gonna have to be a serious. Because put it this way, Parliament will consider this for debate if it gets 100,000 signatures.
Yeah.
They're gonna consider this.
No, they'll consider it at 10,000. They'll actually talk about it at 100,000.
Oh no, the government will respond at 10,000 signatures. Parliament will
Okay.
debate it at 100,000.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So it's like, yeah, this. If it keeps going like this, there's going to be some. Because if it's like, this is almost 500,000 signatures in a day, and that's what, if you see 33 million people voted in the referendum. So what? 1/60th roughly of the people that voted are wanting a revote. So yeah, we could be revoting in a few months.
But it's just gone up by another 1,000, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like it because it does put in rules this. We, the undersigned, call upon Her Majesty's government to implement a rule that if the Remain or Leave vote is less than 6%, based on a turnout less than 75%, there should be another referendum. Of which...
Yeah, I just signed it.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think
the percentage was, what, 51.9%? And
yeah,
it was a 72% turnout.
Yeah, I think it should be. It's because it's so close. Like, if it was like a 60-40 split, or if it was like more than that in one direction, I wouldn't even consider saying something like this.
Yeah.
But I think because the margin was so close,
Yeah,
and there were so many people wishing they'd, I want to
the
say
amount of people
misinformed,
afterwards which are now like, why did we vote Leave? Now that they've actually informed themselves about what's happened, as well as the consequences of is just making the decision.
Yeah.
So, because Christ, just the idea that we were going to Leave when they were counting the votes tanked out the strength of the pound. So.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting.
Just hoping that if we do have a second vote, people will maybe think about getting themselves more informed than just thinking, oh, it's for these two specific reasons of I don't want immigration in this country anymore and more money for the NHS, which was the two main things the Leave campaign was campaigning about.
One of those is complete BS, and
oh yeah,
the other one's like,
they've proven the BS
seriously?
of that an hour after they went, oh yeah, we're leaving. Oh, just wait, this money? Yeah, it's not going to the NHS. So, interesting times ahead.
So, is there anything like tech related we can talk about?
Oh yeah, back on the
Technically-
subject. I believe their social security. You'd have to pay social security for your robots.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'll damage control that if that's wrong, but whatever.
That's kind of stupid. It's like,
That is ridiculous.
maybe when they gain some form of intelligence / sentience, maybe. But at this point,
that
a
is
Roomba being
that
paid
is.
money.
Robots should pay social security taxes. So that's you'd have to pay for
Yeah, no.
if you were to have a robot. If you were to have a robot worker to ensure its safety.
Well, since the last time I refreshed, it's jumped 1,500 signatures.
But yeah, it's under the Electronic Persons Act, and the EU are considering it.
Yeah. Well, the fact that there are people which are now being classified as cyborgs on passports and the like, it's not surprising.
That would be cool though, to have a passport that just tells them you're a cyborg.
That there's at least one person whose passport says cyborg on it.
That is awesome.
Because of the implants that they have. I can't remember. I think it was for vision actually, to restore, because they're blind and they have implants in the brain to give them vision.
And how many airports look at that and go, "That's fake. We're going to check that out."
Yep.
Like it must be sucked to be him traveling around.
Yeah, but what's better than a guy who has basically the eyesight of Geordie LaForge from Star Trek, because he can see infrared. Like, he can see these different spectrums.
That is cool.
That is pretty fucking cool.
So it's like, yep, it's awesome.
And guess how much that would cost in the UK?
Quite a bit.
A lot right now.
Oh no.
Yeah, there are people that are starting to get like bioimplants and being classified as cyborgs and.
But I was at a barbecue, a family barbecue, and there was. I wonder if he's actually going to watch this and be like, "That was me." oh, okay. He's telling me I'm an idiot. But yeah, I was at a family barbecue and I was talking to a guy, and he was saying he's going to save up for a PlayStation Scorpio or whatever. Like, where was I going with it? Oh yeah, no, just the price alone for that now. If he's saving up now, and then we left the EU, and now economy's is going to tank. It's been tanking, and just like he has a gaming PC, right? Well, it's an old one. He has like the old AMD chips, which I can't remember the name of right now because politics happened. But yeah, and he has like a 6700 something or other GPU. I think it was a 6750, which isn't the greatest, but he could, in all honesty, just stick like a 480 in it and play all the modern games, right? Or he could get like a i5 or wait till Zen or something, because I mean it's 2017, like holiday 2017, Scorpio comes out, so and then play all his games because they're all going to be Windows 10 as well. But especially just just consoles and games, physical copies of games. You see how screwed over Canada and Australia get with physical copies of games nowadays, and our economy's just gone at this point. What's going to happen with that?
Well, in a sense, I wouldn't have thought prices would overly change that much on those kind of items, especially because physical market will probably die out for them. You consider for consoles, how many people actually buy physical copies rather than just buy digital versions off the stores?
Yeah.
So, I think gaming wise, the like buying games is gonna die out for the physical media.
I'm going to be honest. Like, when I originally started PC gaming, part of me missed the physical media. Now all of me doesn't give a shit. Like, this is so much more convenient.
I enjoy the physical copies of games I have, but Steam's so easy to use. It's like I don't bother anymore. But if I used to buy dozens of games on hard copy, like I have them sitting on my shelf. But most PC games these days don't come with physical copies, as well as you can't find a store which sells physical PC copies.
I know that a couple of years ago, it was a couple of years ago, man, I'm old. A couple of years ago when the was it the Xbox, like when the Xbox One was originally coming out, and it was like, oh, we're gonna try and cut down physical media games. We're gonna do like download only games, and then all the console games like, no, can't have that. And I'm just like, well, okay.
Yeah, like for consoles, in a sense, it didn't make sense because of at the time they didn't have that larger hard drives. Now they do. The only problem is the games I have for them are stupidly large.
Oh, 70 gigabytes of uncompressed WAV files 2 is coming out soon. As in Titanfall 2.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that was basically Quantum Break. You had to download like 40 gigabytes of video files for all the cutscenes and like between chapter episodes of the show that they did for it. So
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of to think about it, like Titanfall 1 is like 80 gigabytes of a game, right? It's 10 gigabytes of content and 70 gigabytes of audio.
Yep.
And so what are they going to do for Titanfall 2? Because if it comes out and it's like maybe 20 gigabytes, that's going to look ridiculous.
Yep. Hey, it's nothing worse than going, oh, Star Citizen, when it comes out, what's the size of its install? Oh, at least 100 gigabytes. Well, there's no physical
Really?
copies of it, unless the physical copy includes an SSD with the game installed on it.
Yeah.
Which, the rumours that people are like, we'd take that. I'd take an SSD with my copy. But it's like, how about the amount of people that have limited downloads? It's like, you're going to tank everyone's bandwidth who wants to download their game.
That's a good point. I mean, yeah, just like stick a hotspot bay in your computer and just from now on just stick SSDs in and out for physical copy. That would actually be pretty cool. That would actually be really cool.
Which, in a sense, is why I think I said it last week or a while ago. That Nintendo is on about doing cartridges for their games again, which, in a sense, SSDs with the games installed in them.
Yeah, but that's still going to be very expensive.
Not really.
Like, I mean,
they already do it with the DS.
Yeah, but
that's basically
very
what they did.
expensive.
Is those cards but bigger.
Yeah, like, but they are still very, and the games on the DS are tiny comparatively. Like, I guess the real reason,
really.
I guess the real reason it's so expensive for 3DS games is because it's such an obsolete cartridge, like size requirement and just technology wise, that it's almost more expensive to manufacture it now and keep them going. Then it was very expensive at first because it was new.
Well, no.
Then it got cheap.
It comes from
and
they
then
have
it gets
no
expensive
competition
again.
to make the games cheaper.
Because they have to keep the facilities open, manufacturing this outdated technology.
Well, no, it's barely out of date. Christ, the current PSP uses SD cards for its games. Doesn't even use the discs that it decided to come up with.
Current? Isn't the Vita counts like not?
Well,
isn't that dead?
They've still got games apparently being developed for it currently.
Oh, okay.
So, but no, the problem is the price of the 3DS games doesn't change because they have no competition to make them cheaper. The DS games are for the DS. There's no competitor to the DS. So, and in a sense, there are quite a few DS games which are technically better than most big title AAA games for consoles and PC. Who doesn't want to play Pokemon?
Alright, well, let's get the worst possible episode ever out of the way and end this thing,
Worst?
yeah?
I think it's one of the best. We just talked politics.
Yeah. Yeah. Been an interesting week.
Well, technically, it's been an interesting 24 hours.
The description of this episode should be, sorry, no tech, just politics.
Just call it technically politics.
Yeah, I'll rename it. I'll rename the podcast.
Yep. Just this week's episode is technically politics.
Technically wrong. Politics edition.
Limited politics edition.
By next week, it's going to be very different. Let's see if the pound has dropped anything since we started.
Come on, AMD release something good in the next week so that we can have
it's
something
the
to be excited
480.
for.
Yeah, next week is 480 launch, so it'll be reporting on RX 480, £500.
And there'll be 600 by the week after.
Yep. Well, in a sense, the pound has stabilised against the dollar at $1.36 to the pound.
That's so rubbish.
Wow.
Well, it is.
That is rubbish.
27-ish hours ago, it was $1.49 to the pound.
And before that, it was like $1.60.
No, that was quite a while ago. It hit that.
Okay.
A year or two ago.
They've been going...
This year, the highest it's been is about $1.50, but it's like it dropped 15 cents in 4 hours. That's, as I pointed out, it's twice what it dropped in 1993, which is one of our largest crashes. So, and it's the lowest point it's been at since 1985. So,
Well, let's wrap this up.
yep.
Lucas?
I'm Lucas. You can find me at twitch.tv/Userin91 and on Twitter at Kinski91. And I'm married to other places. Just search for my names. It'll be there somewhere. And hopefully our country will still be here.
I'm, Luke. You can find me at Alkarius on Twitter and on every petition to get the EU to be a thing with us again, and
Make
hopefully,
the EU take us back.
hopefully voting again at the next referendum, which will hopefully be in like a couple of weeks to a month. To
Give
some
it 6
point,
months. This will never have happened.
6 points at some point before we, burn everything to the ground.
Which London was close to with the floods it was having.
Yeah.
And I joined Tumblr.
Yep, I noticed that. As well as you made a Twitter page for us.
Do what?
did that.
Now has a Twitter page.
I always had.
It's had a Twitter
Has it?
page since before
Yeah.
we started. He tweeted out the first episode.
Never
And
noticed.
Well-
none since.
So yeah, my bad.
Just wait. I tweeted it out this week.
So yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. That Snuggles. It's the same on Twitch. Very rarely. Tumblr's the same. That Snuggles. And then I'm also on Instagram because reasons.
Yeah. When he says he's on Twitch, he means he's occasionally on Twitch when he's modding my channel.
I've got a stream. No, I deleted that. Never mind. I basically just troll Lucas's channel.
Yep. And even though he's my mod, I might occasionally time him out.
Lovely.
What will we do?
You didn't mention the penguin enclosure this week.